This is the MLW Radio Network.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I am your tour guide, Josh Shernoff, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what's on your mind?
Oh, man. Kind of early.
It's early for us. It's maybe the earliest we've ever done the show.
Yeah, it's definitely the earliest we've ever done the show.
Definitely the earliest of the week.
Yeah. But if you're listening when we release this, it's at 6 a.m. on Monday mornings. It's super early.
Yes.
You're actually earlier than us. But, yeah, man. Yeah, a little bit early, but I like it. This is usually when I get some of my best thoughts out. I leave the house and I'm either having an argument with myself or a debate with myself as I walk to the car, or I'm in the car and I'm arguing with myself, or I'm debating myself. I'm getting hot about an argument that really doesn't exist.
Are you okay with yourself? You seem to be fighting with yourself a lot.
Not all. This is my everyday life. This is the Mind of the Meanie. Legit.
Welcome everyone to it.
Oh, yeah. Don't mind the echo.
You have an echo? Oh, I gotcha. Wow.
Yeah.
Guess I got my own. Yeah, this is early. We it looks like we got some Patreon members joining us, believe it or not. Shackleford is here.
Nice.
Ready for our, quote, awesome weekday show. And we got Mike Landis able to join us on Patreon. Devin Miller's here.
Very cool.
Very cool. We didn't know. So this is... we are actually recording this on Tuesday at 9:30 in the morning. That's almost 9:45. We said 9:30, so it's about 9:45. And this is all due to pretty much my schedule.
Yeah.
So
usually it's my fault.
Yeah. But no, I had to. I've got to go on Saturday when we normally record this. So we're remodeling our kitchen. And we chose a countertop about a year ago because we were supposed to do this before the world ended, and then everything got put on hold. And when we picked this countertop, this granite countertop,
you took it for granted.
Yep. I said to them, I said, so what do we put money down? What are we going to do? They're, oh, no, it's held. It's held through the builders you're working with. Said, all right, that's fine. Well, long story short, they sold what we picked. And so we're back to square one, trying to pick another one. So now we got to go out to Jersey to a granite yard or whatever. And we got to check something out. And the only time we can do it, we have to have my sister-in-law watch the kids, and we have to do it when it's during the day because all of their stuff is outside. So, long story, I guess short story long, we're going Saturday. And I wouldn't be able to record the pod until later on Saturday, which didn't work out with Meanie's schedule. So, which is understandable because normally later in Saturday is always going to be open because we record early in Saturday. So anyway, and then we said, okay, well, we can do any time during the week, like earlier in the day, except for the fact that I've got construction going on in my house and they basically are doing the work right above my office. They're like ripping out old tile and stuff right above on the floor. So it is impossible to do a show when they're here. But they told me yesterday, they go, so we're not actually going to be here on Tuesday. I was like, oh, okay. So I quickly texted Meanie. I said, can we do this Tuesday morning? So here we are. And I can't believe Andy Slichter is here. Says, good morning, everyone. Chef Mike.
Holy shit.
Wow. Oh, he had to get into gimmick. Okay, that is Mike, the previous Mike that I mentioned. He then changed his gimmick. Chef Mike, long time listener of the pod, member of the pod squad.
If I could use the phrase ardent supporter,
Yeah.
if that means anything.
He supports a guy named Ardent.
Yeah. Will Ardent.
So,
an actor.
So what's going on, man? How's everything going?
Fucking tired. Doing good though, man. Dude, we did the Ask Meanie Anything, and it's been bugging me all week since. Somebody's like top 5 bands. I was about to get to it, and then somehow we got sidetracked. So, yeah, top 5 bands. I got caught up in my own head because if somebody asks me a question, sometimes I have to go by certain criteria, especially when it comes to music. So somebody's like, somebody did. I apologize, whoever asked the question.
I believe it was James Sorensen, and I remember.
Oh, okay.
I remember that because it was 3 days ago when we recorded.
Yeah. It'd be great if we recorded a show that came out yesterday.
Yes.
That's how, if we did it that early. No, I'm nuts because, I have to do certain things by certain criteria. So if you ask me top 5 bands, I could easily say, Men at Work or whatever like this. But then I go, man, I really don't know any deep cuts by Men at Work. I just know the hits, greatest hits, all that good stuff. So I was like, oh, man. So, like I said, Van Halen's number 1. Sure. Everybody else is fight for number 2. I believe I said it's definitely Foo Fighters. I think you said Men at Work. Yeah, but, that's when I started arguing with myself out loud. Well, I'm a big fan of anything 80s, really. But heavy rotation. I know all the deep cuts. I know all the deep tracks. I can give you the useless knowledge because I've watched all their shoot interviews. Wink, wink. So, what was it like when you worked for Watts? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
The Foo Fighters shoe interview. Any good rib stories? But seriously, no, I need to know, if I'm going to give, top 5 band, that's, I got to narrow that shit down. So if I could finish, I cut myself off. So top 5, Van Halen, all eras. Don't fucking come at me with, but what about all eras? It's about Eddie. All right. He's the second. I'll give you this. Eddie Van Halen's the second best, next to Hendrix, greatest all time. But number 2, it fluctuates between Foo Fighters and Pearl Jam. But I'll say Pearl Jam, Foo Fighters, and here's one I'm kicking myself. I didn't think of right off the bat. The Black Crowes, one of my favorite bands. I listen to them nonstop, from when they came out to now. And I know all the deep tracks. Seen them multiple times. Great band all around. And then number 5 would be Smashing Pumpkins. They
someone's trying to get a job.
Yeah, I've been working on that since '95, trying to get that job.
You saw Smashing Pumpkins perform, and you're just like, something tells me this guy's gonna be doing something in the business.
Yeah. And then, I met him the first time I met him was at a house show in Chicago. I was like, hey man, NWA, am I right?
And he's like, no, I'm not a part of that band.
Yeah. Yeah, but that fucking hit me too late. No, but seriously, those 5 bands probably released the most songs that I can't shake. They'll be running in my head all day. And I think of them at least once a day. The Black Crowes, I just bought the box set that's coming out for the anniversary of their first album, Shake Your Money Maker. Sorry about that. And
accept your apology.
Yeah. So, it's like a vinyl box set coming out with the album, bonus tracks, a couple live record albums. I try to say albums because records can mean anything. Where they got a pole vaulting record? Where they got running the 40? No, albums. And that's another thing I beat myself up, like trying to say the right words and stuff. But yeah, that's got to be my top 5 bands. But it doesn't help that I've had Britney Spears in my head all morning.
Did you watch that documentary?
Yeah, last night we watched Framing Britney Spears. And
that what it's called? I saw something. There's like a documentary. It's like my wife was telling me, she's like, it's must see. I was like, oh, we can check that out. She's like, I guess I'll watch it on my own. I'm like, no, I'll watch it. She's like, oh, you just didn't seem that interested. I'm like, how fucking excited do you want me to be about this? But was it good?
Oh, dude, I was more than excited. You know, back in the day when
they're showing some old pictures, right?
Dude, like when she first came out, like I was totally into the "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" and all that stuff, and
yeah,
it led to a story that Mick Foley put in his book about how he ribbed me about Britney, my obsession with Britney Spears at the time.
Oh wow, forgot about that.
Yeah, like "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" came out, and it's like it's a good song.
Oh, it's catchy.
What? Yeah, like I'm a big fan of pop. I'm more of a fan of 80s pop.
Yeah.
Give me
but
some
I must
Scandal,
confess,
some Patti Smythe.
Also listen to that song at times.
Yeah. And then, as Mick wrote about in Foley is Good, though I think he got he mentioned the wrong loop, but we were driving from like Cleveland to Pittsburgh. And he goes, what song's out? And I'm kind of, I'm almost ashamed to admit I like it, but, ever hear Britney Spears? And I popped, I went, yes! Yeah! I was like, yeah! Dude, fucking Britney Spears hit me with. And Al's like looking at us like, really? Like, Al was a little trepidatious because he thought we were ribbing him, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he had heard the song, but the way we put it over sounded like we were setting him up.
You're setting him up to be like, oh, I like it too. And then you're just going to,
You're like, ha ha.
Yeah.
Al's savvy like that, Yeah. It's kind of like when Mrs. Meanie called him unknowingly called him on April Fool's Day to let him know I was in the hospital with lung surgery.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, uh-huh. But, and then, like, Al's like, really? And as if we scripted it, like it was Wayne's World or something. We had the radio on, and Britney Spears' "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" comes on, and we fucking Road Warrior pop. We're like, yeah, woo. And we're driving, and we're like, bopping our heads, kind of like, Gangrel coming in the ring with the Brood, we're singing along.
It's the first time I think those two were ever compared.
Yeah. So, like, we're singing, and, like, Brittany does the, I still believe, and then Mick cups his hands and goes, still believe, and all that stuff. And, like, Al's bobbing back and forth. And we pull up to pay this toll, because there's a toll booth between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. And we're marking out for fucking Britney Spears, and the toll lady, or the toll person, I can't remember if it was a guy or a girl at this moment. Not that it matters.
It's a very important part of the story, I'm sure.
Yeah. The important part is they looked at us, whoever it was, looked at us, a bunch of grown men, bopping, singing Britney Spears in the car, just like, all right. They like he was being ribbed or something like that. There's a camera. This is before
Imagine if that person was an enormous wrestling fan.
Right.
Like
that could have been that part too,
Think about you and Al and Mick, but think about like you as a kid or as a, before you're in the business as a huge wrestling fan. Think about like whatever 3 wrestlers in that time period would have been like your, Meanie, Al, and Mick Foley, and imagine they pulled up to it like that would. it's almost a shame that if that person wasn't a wrestling fan, because that would have been the greatest thing to ever happen.
Hey, it's kind of like me running into Bill Apter at the mall, you know?
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, Bill usually just hangs around outside the mall, just waiting. Waiting for people to go get ice cream with him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Just, wife probably cut him off. It's like, you've had enough. I'll show you.
I'm gonna find a friend and we're gonna go get ice cream together.
And then I'm gonna try to write it off.
Yep.
That's the best story. He tried to hand in the receipt for the ice cream. They're like, "What's this? Ice cream?" You understand? Well, there was this kid. There was a kid. You bought this ice cream for yourself, Bill.
Yeah. But you gotta, man, like, there are a lot of people who would not be comfortable telling the story. Like, yeah, no. They found this random kid and he and I just went and got ice cream. Like, people might be concerned of what people are going to think about them.
And then Chris Hansen came out and offered them lemonade.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the ECW fan cam was there. What?
And that's how I got into PWI 500. I apartment wrestled Bill Apter.
I can promise you $4.99, Meanie.
Yeah, 4.9 effing 9, like
you
Donnie Allen.
You want $4.98? We're gonna need sprinkles on top of that ice cream.
Yeah. Hey, you're gonna have to put some. Put some Jimmies on you. Jimmy, come here. Jimmy, get in here. Oh, let me unlock the door first.
Oh, I'd love to see that turn into a Meanie Toons. I get a call from Bill. Listen, you got to take that down. You got to take that down right now.
There's not enough comb over. Dude, I ribbed Bill. I was like, man, that comb over is kind of like the Mr. Softy coif where you just wrap it around. And then Bill hits me with, did you know there's lyrics to that song? I went, excuse me?
Of course he did.
And then he started singing them. I was like, what the fuck? I'm not making fun of it. I loved it.
When the world gets back to normal and there are conventions, if you see anyone listening to this, if you have yet to meet Bill Apter in person, go out of your way. First of all, Bill is the most personable guy. If you meet him at a convention or something, he genuinely,
he's amazing.
And I know this from, riding in the car with him, talking about, the people who he took pictures with and stuff, after a show. And it genuinely means the world to him. And he also, I think he really enjoys getting to talk to fans. But Bill is just, man, he is such a character when you get to know him in the best way. So just definitely go out of your way if you see Bill at a convention to just go up to him and talk about anything. You talk about lots and lots of useless knowledge.
Yeah.
Stuff like the lyrics
walk
to
up
Mr.
to Bill.
Softy.
Yeah, you walk up to Bill and go, hey, Bill, I didn't know. I don't know if you know this, but did you know the Mr. Softy song has lyrics? And he'll be like, why, yes. Yeah. And he'll just start singing it to you.
Bill,
no, seriously. We're laughing, but it's just because we love Bill Apter so much.
Oh, yeah. This is I guess we're playfully poking fun in a way, but
But that's what friends do.
Yeah, we love Bill. And he he is a character, but also a wealth of knowledge.
He does like the best impersonations too.
And even the ones that he doesn't do well, he still does them.
What's your favorite Bill Apter impersonation?
Oh.
That he does, not one of Bill.
I don't know if I've ever really heard a Bill impersonation of someone do it of Bill. I would say, so the thing is, I don't know. The one he does more than any is Dusty Rhodes. But But I think when he does the he really gets into it when who is he did the Magnum TA?
Nikita Koloff.
Yeah, when he does the Nikita Koloff.
Dude, me and Bill
because he
Nikita
commits
Koloff.
so much to it.
Me and Bill impersonated Nikita Koloff to Nikita Koloff, and he gave us pointers because I would always be like, no Magnum, a Magnum TA. And Nikita's like, no, it's like Magna. You know, he was like, I always say Magna. You know, I always do like Nikita impersonations. I was doing it to Bill, and then me and Bill, and then holy shit, we're in the Oregon Niner, and there's Nikita Koloff. And Bill calls him over, and he goes, listen to this. And I was like, oh, thanks for putting me on the spot, Bill. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. And then I go, a Magna TA. He goes, no, it's a Magna. And so I was like, all right, cool. You know, get pointers.
Yeah, cool, man. I mean, I've just been doing that for about 20 years, but that's cool. Thanks for
just crush my hopes and dreams.
Yeah. Or the best part is if you go to Nikita Koloff and you just go no, you do it this way.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get a chance though to tell him that you were responsible for the end of his career?
Oh no.
Nope.
No, fuck. I was trying to eat my dinner and I won't get the fucking Russian sickle there in the Oregon Niner. There goes my fucking head.
Yeah, for those who aren't familiar with it, check out Nikita Koloff's final match. What event was it?
Halloween Havoc 92.
92. It was the one in Philly.
It was 92 because that was my senior year in high school. I graduated in 93, and that was October 92. And
when you watch that, as he takes that stiff chair shot to the back of the neck, once you've seen that chair shot, rewind a little bit and find out who's leaning over the guardrail chanting for him to be hit with that chair. Yeah.
Use the chair. Use the chair. Hey,
what are you gonna do?
I don't know. My favorite Bill impersonation when because he really gets fired up. He does Pedro Morales.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, he starts beating on his chest like. But he also does a good Bruno.
He does do a good Bruno.
San Martino, not Sacha Baron Cohen.
He does, but it took me a long time to realize that the Wonderful Willie character was just Dusty Rhodes. Like when I was, you have to remember, I was 9 years old. So, I mean, I knew Dusty, but at that point, I really only knew Dusty from his like WWF run at that time. You know, when I was a kid, he had been in there, he'd been out, and that wasn't the Dusty Rhodes that, you know, the American Dream, like you saw it and it's iconic with the polka dots, but from a promo standpoint, that's not the Dusty Rhodes that made you remember, you know, that's not the Dusty Rhodes that you remember.
Hard Times, baby.
Exactly. It's the Hard Times promo, is any of the stuff in his feuds with, you know, Flair and the Horsemen and all that. But so Bill would just, you know, he'd do his whole, you know, Wonderful Willie and all that. And then eventually I was like, oh, wow, that's just your Dusty Rhodes impersonation. He used to always, something Bill would always do, and by would always, I mean, probably the next time I see him, we'll do it again. Bill would always do the Flair handshake, where he'd go to shake your hand and then, like, you know, move his hand back behind his head.
And fix his hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. When there was hair. And, no, he would, but he would do that to me, God, since I was a kid. I would always do that. Like, I'd bump into him at the synagogue, and he would be doing that. I told you when I met, who was it? Lou Thez.
That's right.
Yeah, Lou Thez at the post-Shabbos, like, luncheon. It's really not when I thought I was going to meet Lou Thez, but hey, it's the only time I got to meet him, so I'm glad it happened.
I'm trying to think of any random celebrities. Dude, random celebrity stories. Here's one I don't think I've ever really said out loud. Dude, growing up I grew up severe asthmatic, right? So, one night I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, I can't breathe. I would tell my grandparents, hey, I'm having an asthma attack. I can't breathe, whatever. So my grandfather takes me over to the emergency room, because I'm having trouble breathing.
Sure.
And he, I usually go there. They give me a shot of adrenaline. My lungs fire up, and then go home and have some of the best sleep of my life because I could breathe. And once that adrenaline wears off, after they give you the shot, it's like
you're out.
Yeah, it's like, oh. So, we go to Atlantic City Medical Center there. We lived in Atlantic City at the time. I'm 86-ish. I don't want to give a timeline to it because then, people fucking fact check me on it. But, so we go.
Don't
go
fact check them. T-shirt available at ProWrestlingTees.com/MindOfTheMeanie.
Yeah, don't fact check me, pal. So we go to the emergency room. We're sitting there, and all of a sudden, I'm sitting there. I'm fucking scared out of my mind. Some dude comes out of this one room. Because he said, this, the thing with the hair. This guy had, Bill would do this handshake and fix his hair. This guy had like slick back hair, little curly Q, gold chains, dressed fancy, just to the nines. Maybe not the nines, but he's dressed.
It was
fancy.
Kaneki from Greece.
Yes. So, guy comes over. Hey, man, because he saw, the guy saw I was worried and all this stuff, and hey, man, puts the fit up, stay strong, or whatever he said. I forget. So I was like, oh, okay, yes, sir. So a couple months go by, and I see the guy on TV, and it was fucking Hector Macho Camacho. Yeah, he had decided to fucking fight in Bally's in Atlantic City. And I guess, after a fight, you have to have a post-fight, physical. Mm. So you go, the hospital's right there. They give you a look, look you over or whatever.
Yeah.
He was there for something, and it was right after a fight, and I'm sure I could Google it.
That's what we have a pod squad for.
Yeah. It was like 85-ish, 86-ish. But, my timeline's so weird because I would go to the hospital so much as a kid. Mm-hmm. So if I couldn't give you it was, hey, Meanie, remember that time you went to the hospital? Yeah, which fucking time? Every spring and every fall I'd be in the hospital. And if they admitted me to the hospital, they put me in an oxygen tent where the tent would be over my bed. Yeah. And they, give me an IV full of prednisone. And, great memories. But,
good times.
Yeah.
Woo!
Excuse me.
Bless you. My back and shoes. Anyway, no, that's interesting, though. Hey, I do want to point something out here. Liam Savage, no relation to Randy Macho Man Savage. Interestingly, though, half-brother of Lanny Poffo. Anyway, what? No, Liam Savage says, got my membership card in the mail the other day. Thanks again, boys. Finally, I'm accepted.
Thank you.
Thank you, and my apologies. I haven't sent membership cards out in a very long time. The post office is terrible.
Yeah.
Dude, that must have been sent like 2 months ago. I can tell you, I'm pretty sure that was sent in 2020. So I'm just glad. I'm glad that you finally got them, and anyone still waiting for their membership cards, let us know at this point. If you haven't received your membership card, I feel like I'll just maybe send it out over like UPS or something so it actually gets there.
Dude, it's insane. Just especially over the holidays.
Yeah.
Wait,
he's in Toronto. All right.
Well, that makes sense.
All right, it's making a little bit more sense. And also, hey, anyone want to visit Liam Savage in Toronto, Canada? Toronto, Ontario. I love Toronto.
Big fan.
Yeah, big fan.
Big fan.
It might be my favorite city in the world. I haven't been to too many, but it's my favorite city. I used to go for a couple years in a row. I would go with my brother Fred and Calvin and Matt. We would go to Toronto, and it was a lot. It was always a lot of fun when we would go there. We'd go to like different conventions and stuff, and yeah,
dude.
so.
Mrs. Meanie always wanted to go to Canada, and then like within the last year, maybe 2019, we went twice.
Yeah, that was not the last year. I hate to tell you, there was this black void of a year.
Well, that's me just thinking out loud. It's kind of early. I'm still processing shit. Yeah, I had a booking for Greektown Wrestling in Toronto, and I was like, "Fuck!" They were going to fly me. I was like, "Well, I can make this a mini vacation, and
sure.
I'll just get a car and just drive up and bring Mrs. Meanie. She's always wanted to go to Canada, so we, I take the booking and get the rental car. Me and Mrs. Meanie drive up, and make little visits here and there, and the booking went pretty good. And then we got to see Niagara Falls, and she got a whatchamacallit.
We went to the Rock and Roll Wax Museum in Niagara Falls. Mind of the Meanie, Mrs. Meanie round and Tracy Roots got something to say. Hey, hey, hey. My Batman robe.
I love that robe. That's awesome. See, this is
you're
why you need to
wired.
join Patreon, people. You never know what you're going to see. There are some things out there where, like, check out the video version, and it's just, you get to watch people just sitting there. But this is a visual show as well here on Mind of the Meanie.
Hey, I'm sitting right here.
When I was in Toronto, I bumped into, last time I was there, I bumped into Kiefer Sutherland.
Really?
Yeah. Tiny guy.
He was like, "Sir, I asked you before to please leave me alone."
Yeah. Yeah, I bumped into him. It was weird. I found his address and I hid in his bushes for a while, and then
He said, "How'd you get my pants?"
yeah. No, but he was actually like surprisingly like a very like petite person.
Really?
Yeah.
That's disappointing. If you've
yeah.
watched 24,
Yeah.
this
I was like,
badass.
Oh no, like you would tower over him. Yeah, it was pretty incredible, but really nice guy though. Nice guy.
Nice guy.
But no, what you were talking about with like turning bookings into like a getaway type thing. We had done that show where Mangle and I teamed against Frankie Thumper and Jake the Milkman Millman.
Nice.
That tag show that was in Wisconsin. So a bunch of us, like my brother was there too, and my buddy Dave, Dave Sagan wrestles out in Texas these days. And a bunch of us were there, and Dave's brother Andrew, and we just turned it into like just like a trip. Like it was like 3 days in Wisconsin, which I'd never been before. And I know that doesn't seem like people are like, "Oh, it's Wisconsin, you have to go," but it was actually really cool. We found like we looked up like what were like really highly rated local restaurants, and like we checked that out. We went to different like museums and stuff that they had there, and then it was bizarre because like we had that booking. We lost in the first round of the tournament. It was a 2-day tournament, so we're like, "Hey, you need us for the next day?" They're like, "No." We're like, "Cool, man." Yeah, we just made like a trip out of it. So I think that's always, that's something I hope one day, we're able to do. We're able to do like our shows and our live shows, and hopefully we'll be able to go to other places outside the Philly market and maybe, do those along with some bookings at, different promotions and things. If we're able to do that, I would love to just take advantage of getting to see these other places. Like that's something that I'm hoping, the next couple years with WrestleMania, they've announced for Texas and then they announced for LA. So I actually lived in LA, so that would just kind of be neat to go back to, some of my old stomping grounds. But Texas, I've never been to that part of Texas before. I've only been up in the up near the Double Cross Ranch. So that's actually the only part of Texas I've ever been in. I wasn't actually at the Double Cross Ranch, but where is that?
Amarillo.
Amarillo. I was in Amarillo. When I was driving cross country, actually stayed over in Amarillo. But
nice.
No, so that's something where I look at it, I'm like, I would love to take that opportunity, if I'm there for work with Fight and, if we're doing a show or something or a WrestleCon or whatever it is, and then take the opportunity to just enjoy, the time there. So which leads me to a question, Blue Meanie. When you were traveling for WWE, how often did you have the opportunity to check out the local place where you were, and how often were you just kind of in and out, or I've been to every airport in the country, and because there are definitely places that I can say I've literally been there, but I've been in the airport, Yeah,
well, it's basically Groundhog's Day, when you're going to these places. And that's why, when I said I got the booking with Toronto, I made a point to bring Tracy with me and stuff like that. But just because I've never really had the opportunity to see too many of these places. If you do, it's usually just like a drive-by.
It's because I'm obsessed with Canada and I had never been.
Yeah, like we were saying, she was obsessed with Canada, always wanted to go to Canada. I was like, man, if I go to Canada and I don't somehow bring Mrs. Meanie,
we're gonna get a divorce.
Yeah.
No, you went to Canada before, but it was such an in and out that there was no reason to.
Yeah, that was the infamous story with where I drove with Steve Goff and Norman Smiley, because the booking was so shady. I was like, hey, Steve, I got this booking. They're flying me into Detroit. I don't know what's going on. Can you just hang with me?
So I don't know how much he asked about when you were with WWF and what you saw. And I don't know how much scenery you got to see or anything, but I know that the Blue Meanie had at one point an extensive collection of name tags. He had a name tag collection from fast food joints, restaurants, etc.
It's name tag? How'd you were you working at these restaurants?
Well, that was the rib. It was just you're on the road and you're so bored. You just do things to pop other people. So we'd be on the road and then we go to different arenas. Al Snow would try to get the local, if there was a hockey team that played there, he would find the equipment manager or whoever and get the local hockey team's logo with his name on the back, and they would sew it for him and all that stuff.
Jersey.
Well, yeah, sweater, whatever, jersey.
I think you called it a logo.
Oh, whatever.
It's okay. It's early. You mixed up. I helped you.
Yeah.
Keep going.
She's the good part of my brain.
Keep it going.
So I was like, fuck, I need to do something, right? So, after a show, you usually find someplace to, or if you get into town early, if it's a house show, you find some place to eat and then, or whatever. So I was like, I did pop out. I was like, hey, I'm in town with the WWF. Can I get a name tag with my wrestling name on it? And they would look at me like I said with the toll booth, is this a rib? Am I being pranked or whatever? And they would confer with their manager, and then lo and behold, they would come out with a Blue Meanie name tag for said restaurant.
Dude, that's amazing.
And I would wear.
Do you still have them?
I've lost them. I've moved so many times since then. It just
put that on the list if we're ever able to go do any live shows. Wherever we go to eat, I want to try and get you name tags so we can rebuild your.
Well, this thing got to a point where I was wearing the name tags to the arena, The guy's like looking at Shoney's, Blue Meanie. Like, sorry guys, I'm late. I had to finish up my shift at Shoney's or whatever, just as
That's
a rib.
awesome.
And it got to a point where like we're in England, we were doing the UK tour after WrestleMania, and The Rock was like, excuse me while I dropped that name.
Yeah.
Each ouch, ooch, each ouch. That's my feet.
Sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. What was Dew's saying? What was he? Old Dewey.
Yeah, my boy Dewey. He was like, he came up to, he's like, I was having lunch at Pizza Hut, and I almost got you a name tag. Because the boys would pop. I'd walk in with it. It came in like this thing, like, what's he going to wear next time,
That's awesome.
And, we're in England, and he almost went and got me a Blue Meanie UK Pizza Hut name tag just as a rib,
That's awesome.
But
Hey, when is he coming on our show?
It's
just schedules have been. It's a funny thing. He was actually booked. We were going to have him on this weekend, and then I had to move the schedule to the Tuesday, so that's my bad.
Yeah, sorry, Matt Damon. That's our
apologies to Matt Damon.
Yeah, that's our rib.
Apologies to
Rock.
Dwayne Johnson. We had to change the schedule on you.
Yeah. But Oh, you know what I love about traveling too with Mrs. Meanie, for that Toronto trip, I was like, this trip's all about you. It just happens to be I'm booked. So
Okay, so I don't get to go anywhere, and when we do, we don't get to see anything. So, like when we went to London, people are like, "Oh, London has so many great museums and blah blah blah." Like being indoors, being in a line for so long, doing like that is it's a nightmare for me. I want to go out. I want to go to restaurants. I want to go shopping. I want to go walk around. I don't want to go wait in a line. I don't want to go sit in somewhere for a long time. That's a waste. I want to go see as much as I could possibly see. So my trick now is, because I started collecting crystals and like rocks and stuff, I find a rock store. I find a crystal store to go to, which gets us out into the city that we usually wouldn't. And
that's smart. That's really smart.
It's something I never would have thought of. We were going to WrestleCade in Winston-Salem. I think we went 1 year, and then the next year was when I was into the crystals, and I was like, we got to find a store. It's in the arts district. Like the whole time, like we had gone there at least once, maybe twice before. Had no idea we're in this cool like neighborhood. There's all kinds of like fun, cool things to see. And that got us out. I mean, we don't always have the time, and that's fine.
Sure.
But Toronto, when we went to Toronto, we were hanging out with our friends, and they were like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I'd like to go shopping. Like, give me a record store. Give me a thrift store. Give me, I want to go shopping.
Well, it's like
crystals.
Like
so they brought
brought
us to I can't remember the name of the area, but like it's all these stores in the fronts of these old houses. Like it's like this hippie area where like every other house is like painted cool, like funky colors, but they're all like old, like Victorian type. I can't even
Red
tell
Light
you.
District? Or am I thinking?
I can't even tell you what it's called, but like it's all like thrift stores and all cool funky shops and stuff. And,
That's very
and we
cool.
went and walked around down there for a while. But we would have never have found that. I would have never have, I found a cool record store all by myself.
I have, when I was in 99, I went with my school, the summer of 99, I went with my school to Italy. And it's the only time I've ever been to Italy. And I have to say, for as cool as it was to go to the Colosseum and to go to the Sistine Chapel and and all of the hot spots, my like favorite memories from that trip were walking down the random street and going, hey, you want to get lunch here? Like, what is this place? I don't know. Let's go in. Like, I remember waking up one day and it was like 2001 or something. And I was like, man, there is some delicious, what was it? There's a soup. And I'm like, I have a hankering for that soup. Where the hell did I get that? It was so good. And I'm like, oh, wait, it was in Italy. Like a random, I don't know where it was or what the name of the place was. And we did that when I went to Scotland with a bunch of friends. God, too many years, almost 10 years ago, Lord. All right, I'm getting sad here. But when we went to Scotland, that was another thing that we did where we would just be driving around and just randomly just be like, why don't we have, like, we stopped and had breakfast at one random place. And it was just like some of the best food I've ever had. And it was just, but it was random. We didn't even have, we're just like, we want to live here. Unfortunately, that's an example of we flew into London and drove to Scotland and then drove back to London and flew out. And so I have technically been to London and have seen absolutely nothing but inside the airport.
Well, we went to London for the Eagles game. And
right?
Oh, we had fun doing everything but. I mean, well, you had fun at the Eagles game, and I had fun drinking before. But
yeah.
Once we were there, I was like, it's so high up, I can't even see, and I don't even care what happens. Like, It was like everything else was so much fun, I didn't even care what was going on.
But no, like, when you were saying, Josh, that, to do random things. There was one day me and you just took the tube down to, I forget where we went, but we just randomly walked around. And you found crystal shops and stuff like that. And then
there was the one area that I was like, we could take the tube down, and then once we got there, we were like, we can fucking walk back. It was like, we can walk. Like, it wasn't as far as we thought. So we ended up walking around a lot.
Yeah, which was great.
If you can remember, the key is to remember the places that you've gone, so you can ever go back, because that's something nowadays with having your phones you can take pictures with. It's so much easier to just snap a quick picture. Because like I remember I was in Israel 10 years ago, and I found this random on Ben Yehuda Street. There's this random bagel place called Sam's Bagels, and it was the best bagels I've ever had. And I kept going back there every day for like 3 days straight, because we were only in that area for like 3 days and in Jerusalem. And I kept going back to the point where like day 3, they were like, same thing. Like they didn't, because I like started like chatting with them, because I always think you should talk and be friendly to the people who prepare your food.
Oh.
But Sam's Bagels, if anybody lives in Jerusalem, go to Sam's Bagels. It's so good. But that's, I think it's fun to find these to find the places to live like the people who live there, as opposed to just being like a tourist.
Right. Yeah, anybody can do the Mark stuff.
Yeah.
We were.
We should do that too. At least.
Oh,
once,
I know, but I love the local stuff.
So where we were staying, there was nothing after a certain time. Like everything kind of shut down at 8:00, and there really wasn't any. It was kind of a touristy area. There really wasn't anything immediately near the hotel except for Hard Rock Cafe.
Okay.
So we went...
The original Hard Rock Cafe.
Which we didn't know until later, which is awesome. So a friend of ours collects the pins from Hard Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, can you get us some pins? Because I was like, I'm not telling them that we're at a Hard Rock right now. And I get a message on my Facebook, and it's like, if you're near a Hard Rock, can you get us a pin? I'm like, shit. So I got 2, and it was around Halloween, and the one I got the Skyline one, and then I got one that is a werewolf. Right? Werewolves of London. Each big city had a different, Tokyo.
Now, was it an American werewolf in London? Or was it?
I don't know. I didn't fucking ask him. Please, let me finish. So, Tokyo had, Godzilla. Every big city had a different... And I don't know, the big deal with these pins. They're very, very collectible. That werewolf's probably very expensive, and it's just on a shitty denim vest that I have because I kept it. Because we had Hard Rock Cafe for, it was like 4 times in 3 days. Like, it was something ridiculous. But we
It was like your bagel shop. We went every day.
But it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It's Hard Rock Cafe. It was like, frozen fucking macaroni and cheese. It was awful. But the guys at the door were really cool because
We made friends with them.
we were buddies with them, and they were like, "Oh, what did you guys do?" And I was like, "Oh, we went to the Sherlock house because we went to the BBC Sherlock house, and we went to the like original Sherlock house." And I was like, we went to the real Sherlock house, and they were like, "He's not real, right?" You're like, there is no real Sherlock, idiot.
Wow.
But like when we're going over there, we have a well now it's we, but like I have a friend over there, Gabby, who became our friend Gabby. She was kind enough to give us the local tour, and she took us over to the. I said to her, I was like, "Oh, I want to go to the Sherlock house." She was like, "That's on the sound stage." I was like, "No, but there's an exterior next to a little diner called Speedy's, and which was a real place, and we went there for breakfast.
We had English breakfast in a little tiny, the little tiny cafe underneath Sherlock's house. It's just the exterior shots,
but still,
they still go in, sit in Speedy's. Like there's like pictures all over the walls, and like they're very proud of Sherlock. It brings them a lot of foot traffic.
The exteriors are cool. But they're extra cool when it's like a TV show or a film where they've actually like done a lot outside, like the house in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like Buffy's house. I went there at one point in California, and like they did tons of scenes outside the house, like actually there.
Show?
So it wasn't just like what's that?
The show?
Yeah.
Oh,
not the movie. No.
Oh yeah. # not my Buffy.
The show is not your Buffy?
No, the movie.
The movie's not your Buffy, yeah.
# not my Buffy.
Yeah, # not my Buffy. Always wanted Pike to show up, though. That was Luke Perry. Always wanted him to show up.
David Arquette's in that.
He is in that, yeah.
He's a wrestling guy.
I think is that where he and Luke Perry became friends?
Oh, my God. Maybe so. Who knows?
Maybe. How about Jungle Boy?
No, Speedy's is a big deal. The exterior shots, that door is like people cosplay as the apartment. I swear to God, I had a bag that I sewed and painted. I was 221B Baker Street from the BBC Sherlock show. Get into it, girl.
But like, yeah, we're at the diner, and it's just like it was like everybody who's anybody just showed up, and just people were taking photos with the door, taking photos of Speedies. And
That's cool, though.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome.
I'll tell you.
I'll say this: like Mrs. Meanie was like a champion on that tour with like.
Oh, and that's the thing. So you talk about like wandering around and finding things. I planned a lot of stuff as best I could before we left, like because I don't sleep. I haven't slept. I was on my way to go make you a sandwich for later because and I figured I'd just go to sleep and then you can leave me alone. But but I planned like a ton of stuff. I had the underground app so I could take the subway, so we could take the train. Which I don't do here. I don't take the train. I don't know how. It freaks me out. I don't even like taking the bus, and like we got around pretty goddamn good.
She was leading the way, which made me really proud.
I ordered cards, the
Oyster card or something like that?
Oyster card, whatever whatever you pay to get on the train with.
It's like a trans pass.
Yeah. So, I ordered those in advance, which I didn't have to do, and but we planned like a ton of stuff. I mean, we found a lot of stuff too.
Dude, like we went to this area in London called Camden, and like we're walking around and randomly there's a statue dedicated to Amy Winehouse, and I was like, why is there? They're like, oh, this is our hometown, and I was like, oh
wow,
cool. So it's like,
yeah, little things like that.
There's something to traveling.
Here, wait a sec. Wait.
What you doing?
what's happening.
I got this ukulele in Camden.
She bought this ukulele.
I put the fuck off sticker on it, but it's
Very
pink
nice.
and sparkly. We walked into this little like booth.
That's
Like
the
it
one
wasn't
you were
it
using
wasn't
in the,
even like a
video.
full on. It wasn't even like a full on store.
Let's try to make it so you can see the
It
fuck
was
off
this.
sticker.
It was a guitar store. It was this little booth, and I walk in and I like, we're just gonna go peek around. This was on the back wall, and I was like, that's mine. And it was like, I don't know, maybe the equivalent of like $25-$30. I was like, that's coming with me.
I was recently filming a couple of things over at the Rocky statue in Philadelphia, and I had to film stuff for Fight for the what is it, the boxing Writers Association of America or something. So we were filming stuff down there at the art museum and at the Rocky statue, and every time we would film something, the line would get so big, and I couldn't believe how many people in the freezing cold during a pandemic were there to take pictures at the Rocky statue.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you talk about like all these different places, living like how the how the locals live, but then also going and seeing, as you said, the Mark stuff, seeing that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool. And then what's funny is I thought about it. I'm like, I don't think I've been to the Rocky statue since it was at the Spectrum.
That's crazy.
I think was like the last time I had been to the Rocky statue. So it's like, when you live near something, you don't necessarily, you're there. Like, when was the last, I don't even know if you're allowed to go to the Liberty Bell anymore, but,
Right.
but the last time I was there, I was a kid in elementary school.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, you went.
I went with my mom. I went with my mom. My mom came to surprise me, and that's what we did.
Very cool.
And they're like, "What bridge is this?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like, it's all Brian knows all that stuff.
Yeah, my mom did that when we were in California, and she came out. My mom and dad came to visit me and my wife in California, and my mom would just like, as we'd like anywhere we'd go, she would like write down where we went. She would like keep track of all these things, and then she would ask me like, "So where's this, or what's this place, and what town are we in?" And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know where we are. I know if you go straight and make a left, you'll get back to our apartment. That's it.
We've been to the Rocky statue 100 fucking times, and I've never been inside that art museum, and that hurts my heart. I've been here for 15 years, and I've never been inside the art museum. Like, we just don't do anything here. We try to avoid going to that area. Like,
well, I'd like to go
get
to the art
in and
museum
get
at some
out.
point. I haven't been there in a very long time, but I'd like, when my kids get older, that's like an excuse to do things.
Oh, we do it with our buddy Sebastian. Like, when his kids were younger, I'm like, can we borrow your kids? Like, can we go? Like, Pompeii, the Pompeii thing at the Franklin Institute. I was like, we're going to that. We are
Franklin
going.
Institute's one I haven't
bring
been
the
to
kids. We're going
in like 15 years. I feel like I haven't been to the Franklin Institute. Actually,
I
slept
think
at
that
the
was the
Franklin
only time we
Institute
went.
once.
Yeah. Well, I went as a kid on a class trip, but that was about it.
I slept there from, I think
What?
it was like, I want to say it was like a Cub Scouts thing or something like that. Like, we had an overnight sleeping right by the Benjamin Franklin statue. And then like one kid threw up and it like smelled like vomit the whole time, but it was otherwise really cool. And we ate the space ice cream bars,
That's Mrs. Meanie's favorite.
the dried
I
out.
like the spice ice cream.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
And,
likes the space ice
It's freeze dried.
I actually fell down the art museum steps when I was a kid.
very unrocky.
Well, here's the thing. I like to say I fell down the art museum steps, but it was actually inside the art museum in one of the stairwells. And I just kind of like slipped and fell down like 3 steps. But I like to say I fell down the art museum steps. I got very winded walking up the art museum steps on the outside.
Dude, I always wanted to do like a vignette or something where like I'm doing the Rocky run and you see me go, or somebody's running up the steps and you see me sitting on the steps with a brown paper bag like,
Do you know at the top of the art museum, they actually have his like footprints?
yeah,
Converse.
his Converse Chuck Taylors.
Yeah.
And he's got really small feet.
He does.
Small feet.
Small feet.
Wolfie.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, it's weird because he's not a real fucking person. Thank you. Next.
I mean, he is a real. I mean, he's a real guy. Rocky Balboa. Haven't you seen the documentaries?
Yeah.
There's
dude, what's that?
There's 5 documentaries of him, and then they came back with another documentary, and now they have new documentaries that are following.
He's a coach now, right?
Yeah.
At the Monster Factory.
I don't know if you could see me, but I'm
He's at the
rolling
Monster
my
Factory
eyes.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. At the boxing equivalent of the Monster Factory.
Yep.
Dude, I lived in Memphis for a couple months, and I'm still mad at myself. I never went to see Sun Records. I didn't go to Graceland. I was there there was a lot of downtime,
I've never been there. Never
unfortunately.
been there to Memphis. And
Really?
I kept saying when I was in Kentucky, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make the drive at some point because it's not, it's a hell of a lot closer than it is, from Philly. And I just never did.
Yeah. Dude, there's a few things. I lived in Memphis. WWE sent me down to Memphis for Memphis Championship Wrestling. Mm-hmm. And it was the shits because the guy running it didn't really promote the shows. He was just getting the WWE check and running shows, and whether there's fans there or not, we had to wrestle and all this stuff. And, if you're going to be in developmental, you want to work in front of people. Sure. That's how you learn, working in front of people. But there's, a lot of downtime. And, I didn't go to Graceland. I didn't go to Sun Records. And growing up in the 90s, I became a fan of the documentary Paradise Lost about the West Memphis 3. The guys who I believe were falsely accused of the murder. Mm-hmm. And they were the main guy, Damien Eccles, was right across the bridge in Arkansas. And I was like, man. And I was a big supporter, big fighter, free to West Memphis 3, which ironically had a hashtag free WM3. And if I would post that in the wrestling forum, somebody go, WrestleMania 3? What? But
WWE's been holding the footage for WrestleMania 3, and we need it. We need to see it.
But I would have loved to gone over and visit and give my support. And
you would have loved to have gone over at any point when you were down there.
Pretty much. But ironically, through the graces of social media, I got to become friendly with Damien, and
very cool.
I told him that little story about West Memphis 3, WM3, and he popped for it because he's a wrestling fan and stuff like that. Me and Tracy have a friend, Danny Bland, who's friends with Damien, and when WrestleMania was in Seattle, where Danny's from, if you look in the crowd, you see somebody holding up a sign, free West Memphis 3, and that's our boy Danny holding up signs for Damien. And during the main event of WrestleMania in Seattle, he called Damien on the phone and let Damien listen to the WrestleMania match from prison over the phone because there was no way for him to watch it. So Danny, called him on his phone. He got to listen to the main event, and Danny described the match, and he got to hear the crowd roar and all that stuff. I was going to say,
it would have sounded like this.
Yeah. So, cell phone technology then, yeah.
Yeah.
But, cool things.
Those are my sound effects.
Yeah. Award-winning sound effects.
Very cool.
But that's the thing I love about us, and what I love about wrestling. It's allowed us to travel and see.
You got to take advantage of that. Like you've said before, that you got to see the world on, Vince McMahon's dime, and that's, make the best of it. Because I get being super busy and having to go. And look, there are sometimes you're gonna get there, you have to sleep, and then you have to get to the arena, and then you need to hit the road immediately afterwards, and that's your job. That's life. But man,
I've seen plenty of highways.
Yeah, if you can, just take the opportunity, because there are so many places that I traveled to that I did not take the opportunity because I'm like, whatever, I'll be back, and it's like, nope, you didn't go back. So
yeah, that's why I got approached to do Wrestle Pro Alaska in August. Hopefully, we all get vaccinated by then. Mm-hmm. But I got the opportunity to take the booking, and Alaska's on my bucket list.
Yeah.
There was a tour there when ECW closed, and I'm still kind of bitter I didn't get invited. But this second opportunity came along. I was like, you know what? I said to Tracy, hey, you kind of want to go to Alaska?
Not fucking leaving me.
Yeah.
So I was actually thinking about that show with the Pod Squad. I was thinking because I know Kevin Matthews said that they're going to be airing it for free on Facebook. I think they're going to be like streaming it live for free. So I was thinking if we can find out when your match is going to be, whatever the time is, because I know the times are going to be weird, so this might not work out. But I was thinking that maybe I could do a watch along of your match live with our on our YouTube for our Pod Squad.
That'd be
Good
cool.
fucking luck.
Yeah. No idea when that's going to... Basically, what's going to involve is going to be like a text from you being like, I'm in Gorilla. You know? Basically, I'm ready to...
Well, I'm going to have to give you a little bit longer than that because you got to fire up the old Patreon machine and stuff like that and get the Patreon, the Pod Squad ready.
You got to let everybody know. But, I thought that could be like kind of a fun thing because, I mean,
if you could pull it off.
That very well might be the first match you've had since the podcast started.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. Who knows? You get vaccinated, something pops up before then. But
I think today is the anniversary of my last match for Ring of Honor. Because yesterday in my Facebook timeline, yesterday we were at the first XFL game, which was the day before Ring of Honor.
I look beautiful. Just wanted to say.
As always.
Let me look back on the.
Well, you got to look up the first XFL game. It was in Washington. We're like, let's shout out to my boy Chris Crude. He was like, hey, we have a suite at the XFL game. You want to join us? And I was like, oh my God, this all lines up. We could go down the day before, go to the XFL game, drive back to Baltimore, and then do Ring of Honor the next day.
So I know we did MLW in Philly was February 1st.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I know the week after, that's when you and I did the interview that sparked the podcast. So we're having some fun anniversaries here. But then the week after, so it would have been, was it Saturday or Sunday when you did the show?
Sunday.
Then, Sunday the 9th. And it is February 9th right now as we record this.
Because I can tell you, so last week, or the week before when we were at that MLW, I took a picture with you because we both had blue hair.
Yeah.
I specifically took a picture with you because we both had blue hair. And I'll never forget that show because they had signs up and they were telling everybody no shaking hands, and they were all completely ignored.
Well, but I remember I used those signs as like a really good icebreaker because like I remember meeting Savio Vega and I'm trying to think who else, like some people who like without question, I guess like La Parca and stuff, like people that I'd never met before that without question I would go right up to and shake their hand and introduce myself and tell them that, it's an honor to meet them and all that stuff. And it was such a cool icebreaker to go and introduce myself and say, hey, I'd love to shake your hand. I know we're not allowed to. And I had so many conversations with people just based off of the fact that I introduced myself by saying, yeah, sorry, I'm not allowed to shake your hand. It was
And
actually
they were
really
like,
neat
oh, well,
icebreaker.
it's not just COVID. It's also flu season or whatever.
This is the early stages of the
But
whole
hey, dude,
apocalypse.
Shout out to Court Bauer for
putting up,
for taking that shit seriously.
They tried and we tried, and it's just like it's ingrained in everybody. Like, you can't help it.
Yeah. Well, we also back then, we hadn't been told, I won't say people didn't know, but we hadn't been told that it was airborne. So, we're just told to wash our hands and stuff. But
that's because, okay.
And sing happy birthday.
So wait. So we went to that video game convention, the 20... Yeah. Mm-hmm. I almost said February 29th. That's funny. So my mom's...
I think it was. Actually, February 29th.
So my mom's birthday is the 28th, I believe. Mm-hmm. We stopped in Connecticut to surprise my mom for her birthday. the day before we went to the video game convention because that was up in Massachusetts. So instead of going straight from Philly to Massachusetts, we stopped off and said, and I remember people, like some people wearing masks in Boston at the convention. Like a couple people were wearing masks, but people were still like not really taking it seriously. That it was just like, no. And I was sick. I was actually sick, and I wasn't touching anybody. Like I wasn't trying to touch anybody. But I also I don't know if I had it. But looking back,
I think you did.
Everybody.
Well,
I think
got sick too.
Yeah, I think Meanie. I think you had it too, because I remember that was when you and I first started, texting each other like little girls because we were ramping up for this podcast, and I remember you telling me like, dude, I am like, I'm like dead here, like I'm feeling terrible, and it wasn't until like a little bit later that I was like, I think maybe you got, maybe you got COVID because all the way you were describing how you're feeling. And by the way, it was the 29th. Last year had 29 days in February. And because I remember while you were there, that was the last pay-per-view that I was at for AEW. I was in Chicago for that weekend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was, I guess, Revolution, right? It was, AEW Revolution. And because they got another one coming up next month. But that was before like the whole world shut down. But I do remember it was serious enough that I was thinking about it, but not so serious that like I still took a cab from the airport to the hotel, and I still, walked around and that hotel, like, I mean, we were all still shaking hands and everything. And the hotel was like, I was surprised had it been like a month later, that would have been a super spreader because the hotel had two connections to it. One was the Wintrust Arena, where AEW was, like, you could walk a bridge across from the hotel to the arena. And the other one was they were having a big, like, Comic-Con type convention that was connected to the hotel as well. And
where was that? Chicago?
It was in Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, they do that. That's funny because we were there for Wizard World, and they were having a horror convention across the way. I wonder if it was like the same place. Anyway,
yeah, I don't know, but it was really jam packed. I mean, it was either fans there for, like 10,000 plus fans for a wrestling show, or it was like who even knows how many tens of thousands were there for the other thing, and it was just like. It was crazy. It was just nonstop packed there. And like, I remember I got back and it was like 2 days after I got home. My daughter had something at her school and like, I went to that. And then it was like a couple days after that, they start with the 14-day, you might have, you may be sick and spreading it and not have symptoms for like 7 to 14 days or whatever. And I remember like instantly being like, holy shit, like, did I just go to a preschool? Did I just come back from this? They're like, have you been around people? Have you been? And I'm like, I was only around like 30,000 people at a time, and then
we
flew.
Traveled. We went to a big thing.
Yeah, the convention.
Maybe we shouldn't be telling people this.
Yeah.
But no, listen.
But
so
who knew?
I got sick. I got sick from cleaning, kicking up a fuck ton of dust. And I got sick from that because I have, like, my lungs are bad. I've gotten pneumonia. Like, I'm not well. Like, so
Are your lungs still bad from pneumonia?
From pneumonia?
Yeah.
I got pneumonia because my lungs are bad.
So I got pneumonia years ago, and I feel like my lungs have
it
never recovered.
I had it twice. No, but can I tell you, I don't feel 100% since, like, last fucking year. Like, I haven't been smoking. We haven't been drinking because I'm afraid that I'm going to, like, crack my head open and have to go to the hospital and he can't come with me or whatever. Like, there's all kinds of, like, weird fears, and I don't need it. So I'm not drinking, so I'm not smoking cigarettes that much.
Right.
But I still sometimes feel like I smoked a pack. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's real weird. Like, but Like, when I got sick, I wasn't smoking and I wasn't drinking. My mom was mad because I didn't want to go to the bar with her. It was her birthday. And I was like, I'm staying on your couch. I'm going to sleep. Good night.
God, I remember my mom was the same way back. What was I, 13? She's like, let's go to the bar. I'm like, I don't want to. I want to play video games. She's like, come on. I need a designated driver.
But here, I could possibly have fucking COVID and I'm sleeping on her fucking couch. And her boyfriend, works at a home. You know what I mean? Like, well, he's getting tested all the time because of that.
Yeah.
And he's in the kitchen.
But it was just a scary time in the not that it's gotten any less scary, but it was scary because in the very beginning you did like what you're saying. Like you guys didn't know. But it was also such this like abstract thing. Like, why would you think you had it? Like, oh, I've got these. Like, anytime over the last year, if I've kind of been like, my allergies are acting up, your first thought is like, oh God, do I have COVID? Then your next thought is like, no, I obviously don't.
I get bronchitis
it's like, well, why not?
Every 6 months, like clockwork. I get bronchitis. I get it in March and I get it in August. It's always around Monster Mania. I always
got time for that.
Before or after Monster Mania, I always get sick. It's always March and August, always. So to be sick in February it's nothing. I was kicking up dust, but for him to get a fever, it was like, all right.
Yeah, I got sick, and I really don't get sick.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get allergies, and like, I'll be a baby about it. But
yeah, well, you're a man.
Dude,
that's what we do.
Yeah, we get the boo-boo face. And, but I had a fever. And my lungs were on fire. I had body aches.
But there was, it's like we're seeing all these people, and I'm like, look, I'm sick. Don't touch me. And it was like, I'll hug you anyway. And that was how, like, people were like, whatever.
Because we just couldn't imagine what this was going to become. And thank God. I mean, look.
This was supposed to last 2 weeks. Thank God
you got the version that you got that wasn't so bad, Like,
yeah. Yeah, but like we were led to believe there's going to be a shutdown for 2 weeks, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And here we are, like a year later. It's like, oh my God,
it could definitely fucking kill the both of us.
Yeah,
I think, unless we could have had it 10 fucking times and we didn't fucking know it. Yeah. That's the thing of this thing. Like, people aren't getting fevers, which is making me nuts because people are they're doing temperature checks.
Yeah.
Why?
That's it. It's just temperature checks, and it's like, I guess it's like every once in a while you're going to weed out one person,
right,
who probably doesn't even have it, is just running hot,
I'm double masking, and I'm staying in my house, and I've made my house so nice that I actually want to stay in it. We made our backyard nice. I got a cute pig grill for the summertime. Hey, now we got this room to hang around in.
I would be double masking if I was in a room with Meanie. I watched him take himself out.
He doesn't do that around me because I cook his food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I cook his food.
I know where my bread's buttered.
I'll fucking poison him. Keep it in your pants, bro.
It's just so crazy still to think that we were supposed to.
I'm the farter here, all right, pal? I'm the farter, and the Blue Meanie clutches his pearls and says, "Oh, you make me sick."
Oh my God.
Yeah, how do you think it feels? How do you like it? Huh? You fucking pig.
It's just hard to believe, like, Meanie, like, we were supposed to do this in the studio. This was going to be sometimes I think about what our show would have been if we were recording at like Macho. Like, we're recording and there's like a student there doing the mixing for us and doing stuff. Like, we would never have been as crude as the show can get at times. It would not be as relaxed. I think it would have been so much more formal. And, it's funny. I went back to look at the calendar to see when you did that, the Ring of Honor show, like when it was. And I see on the 8th, I have Slab Yard. So it was February 8th, a year ago yesterday, was when I went and picked out the stuff that the granite that they ended up selling because we were supposed to a month later start construction, and then everything shut down. And so now a year and a week later, I'm going back to that Slab Yard. But it's crazy looking at the calendar. The thing that jumps out to me the most is how much shit I have on this calendar. How many things between different activities for my kids that they were physically going to, different meetings that I had for work and stuff, appointments my wife had. Like, it's just crazy looking at it. And then you skip ahead a month or 2 months or 3 months, and it's just like empty. The calendar just starts looking empty.
Yeah. In the words of Gerald Briscoe, who I think we all love dearly.
Of course.
I could say definitively we all love dearly. He said the worst investment I ever had was a 2020 day planner. Or that is the biggest waste of money because you made all these plans and nope.
Andy Slichter says, I too am glad it wasn't at Macho, so I wasn't in the studio audience for secondhand smell.
Well, dude,
we weren't going to do. Remember, Slichter, we weren't going to do there would have been if we were doing it at Macho. There absolutely would have been an episode of So Says Shernoff where Meanie actually was there on the set. Like, there's no way we would have. If you were already, we would have just planned it, and then that would have cleared the room probably, but. They've been like, I thought this was a green screen. What's this brown? And, but no. But that's again, like Andy Slichter. Like, that's a weird thing too, because like Andy had started coming to my shows. And that's how I first met him. But like now, he's a dude I talk to, like, I feel like almost every day there's some sort of back and forth or something. And
we've been talking about football like nonstop the last couple of days.
But I feel like the last time I saw Andy, I barely knew him. You know, I knew him as a dude. What's that? What'd she say?
Andy.
Yes.
Her Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, God. But no, I like barely knew him. And now, and that's the cool thing. We've got so many people. This, for as hidden away as we've all been over this year, we've been able to really build through this podcast, this great community.
Yeah.
Of people that we interact with, and it's just awesome. It's really cool. It is the silver lining of a garbage year.
Our all accepting community.
Yes.
Of like-minded folks.
Yes.
Fantasize about your butthole.
Yeah.
Make me sick. You all make me sick.
But I don't know if we would be.
I mean about his farts.
But
you guys love it. You fucking eat it up. You make me sick.
Num num num.
Yeah.
No, but seriously,
I don't know what would have happened.
Who knows if we would have built the Pod Squad up, if we would be doing these shows live on Patreon.
Yep.
I
don't know how we would have been doing these live a bit. Like, I actually have a fear that that the podcast wouldn't have lasted, or we would have just shifted. Because I think we would have enjoyed it so much that we would have shifted to doing it like this anyway. Yeah. But I think it would have having to physically drive to the school and have it booked at a specific time where we were given a specific start and end time, and that would not have worked for us at all. No. I think,
how much of a drive is that for you? I know it's an hour for me.
For me, it's probably like a half hour or so, a little longer maybe. It depends on the time of day. Obviously, it could be like 45 minutes.
Episode 3 would have been like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It
would have been rough. And then, you have to remember, we were starting. Our plan was to start in April, right after WrestleMania, because I was going to be in Tampa, and we were going to come. So it was right after we got back, and then we started. Early, but we started in March. But I,
because you were like, man, I think we're missing it. You hit me up with, you're like, I know we planned to do this in April, but man, we're missing out on talking about a lot of things that are happening right now.
Yeah, and I felt like there was like this void, like people were just sitting around going, because you have to remember too, TV shows started disappearing.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's this void in entertainment. People are looking for something, and there's obviously stuff for us to talk about. Like, And it's so funny because the thought was like, should we really wait an extra 2 weeks? Like, that seems weird. And it's like, Monco's still not open for us to do this.
We would have been screwed.
Oh, yeah. And we were booked. I mean, So Says Shernoff had the studio booked through the end of the, I want to say through June or July, maybe even August, like the end of the summer. And obviously that, stopped. But through all of that, now I've got my studio, you've got your studio, and it's really cool because we're able to do things, I feel like, in a much better way for both our show and for other things that we do. When you're a guest on other people's show, when you were doing the Eagles show, which I'm, sure you'll be back to. Sans.
Shout out to Giovanni.
Yes, you'll be back there. Sans Carson Wentz, I think. But
that's the countdown for today. I bet that's from.
Well, it's kind of like an unwritten rule that you're not going to do anything like that over like the Super Bowl weekend. So, but whatever. I'm not
and with the way that this is set up, so I made a video that is on the YouTube channel of the tour of our little studio here. So all of his recording equipment, spoiler alert, is on this little like IKEA cart. Mm-hmm. And then there's a big ring light that needs to be set up, and his chair needs to be set up. So I love the action of setting the stuff up. Like, he's like, you don't have to do that. And he's an adult man. He can set up his own fucking lights. But it makes me feel like I'm a part of it. It makes me feel like I'm doing something with myself. Like, whenever we would do shows, if we would do conventions, I would set up the table. You know what I mean? And then I would walk away for the rest of the day. but I liked setting up, and I liked breaking down. Like, I like doing an important thing where I'm like, don't talk to me, I'm busy. Oh man, especially at conventions and people you don't like try to talk to you, and you just look, I gotta go. I'm really busy right now. And I'm not really busy. I'm never busy.
But yeah,
I mean not you. I mean me. I'm never ever busy. I never have to be anywhere.
I always refer to her as the producer, because she's invested in this. She's invested in this room. She's invested in the show. And I'm very happy that the Pod Squad, I mean, she's the Pod Squad loves her. I love her.
I've inserted myself into this project.
Well, hey, there wouldn't have been. What were the chances that there was going to be because a Mrs. Meanie run-in? That wouldn't have happened.
I need to be a superstar. Right. I need to be a superstar. Okay, so when we
free Meanie,
when everything opens up again, I'm gonna have 8x10s.
I don't know if you're joking or not, but if you
are going to take pictures for me. Yeah. You are going to take pictures for me. People are going to be like, can you take a picture of us? And they're going to be talking about me and not you.
Seriously, though, if you showed up to the first convention that we're able to get a table for the podcast for, and because I'm not letting Meanie get his own tables anymore. But if you were to show up and do that, and you didn't have a picture to sign, I guarantee you were going to have a lot of people going oh,
it's okay. They can buy my buttons.
Well, can you just sign this then? Can you just sign people?
I'll sign my buttons. I'll sign my buttons. They're handcrafted.
Yeah.
That's you always talked about how you were amazed at some of the buttons she used to make.
Yeah.
Before this whole apocalypse.
And it sucks because I shut down my Etsy. I had stickers. I just ordered stickers of Blue Meanie and myself. I made all this wonderful artwork, and I made these stickers up, and I had them in my Etsy shop. And it was as soon as it hit December, I shut everything down because I knew there was going to be a problem. And didn't the Postal Service have a complete meltdown?
Yep.
And people are still waiting for stuff.
But the cool thing is there's no shelf life on those.
Right. And
so they're going to be there.
I wasn't about to get reviews that are I would give 1 star if I could. I'd give 0 stars if I could. 0 stars.
I think
for
honestly,
slow
I think that's
shipping.
really smart
It's not
because that would have negatively affected.
I kind of do it every year. Like Black Friday is the and this year there wasn't anything. I was concentrating on not like going crazy. How am I gonna have my own holidays without being with our family? We both have a pretty big family between the two of us, and being home, it's nice. It's nice and peaceful, and we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if there's going to be silver linings in the apocalypse, it was just like
I don't want to kill him. It's been a year, and I don't want him dead.
Yeah.
Because I make his food, he'd be dead.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people are like going out, and you got all these big gatherings because people generally hate their family. They hate their children. They just want to get away from them. Your kids are cool. I like your kids. I'll come hang out with your kids any day.
Thank you. They're
I'm sure they're not the same kids when we leave.
You know what? They are. The funny thing is, they are so sweet and so adorable.
You also don't seem like you're clawing at the walls.
Thing. What's that?
You don't seem like you're clawing at the walls to get the fuck out.
No, I am very lucky. I've got amazing kids, but the thing is, they're so, like we've talked about with my daughter sometimes, she is exactly what you want, especially in this world, what you want a little girl to be. She is so confident and independent in her thought and like very strong-willed. And my wife and I have actually had like that conversation of like, how do you nurture that to continue that into adulthood, but at the same time be like, hey, you're 6. No, you don't have any control. No, you don't make these decisions, It's a very like, you know what I mean? Like she's so, but the nice thing is no matter what we tell her, she's herself and she's going to do her thing. And I think every parent should feel this way at least, but I think we're turning out some pretty decent little people that hopefully will be a positive addition to the world as they get older. But hey, there are definitely nights where we're like, you know what, we're doing bedtime a little early tonight because mommy and daddy need a fucking break.
Get the ether.
But really, like people, they're like, they want to go to the bar. They want to go to fucking Applebee's. Like, just chill out, dude. Stay home.
Yep.
Yeah, they make it about freedom, but they really want to get the fuck away from their loved ones.
And I know, and I know, and I have no place to say anything because I don't know how hard it is to have children, and I don't know how hard it is to have to teach them, and to be teacher, and to be a mom or a dad or whatever the fuck, it takes a village, and I'm just one.
I say it takes a village, and we're not allowed to have the village with us.
No.
So, but I got to tell you, like my
6. I don't even know how many feet it is anymore.
my wife definitely wins in this household for top parent because she's been their school teacher. She, for instance, we're doing this on a Tuesday morning. All 3 of my kids are up and running around like lunatics, and my wife is wrangling them and trying to teach them.
Dad's playing with action figures in the basement.
Yep. Hey, so
nice.
Chef Mike says, in all the shows and podcasts I've seen and followed over the years, there's never been a personality like Mrs. Meanie. Can't wait to meet her.
Boy.
Can't wait to meet her when this is all over and gatherings can happen again. Of course, can't wait to finally meet and feed Josh, Meanie, and the Pod Squad. Yeah, us too, man. I was like worried he's gonna like forget how to cook by the time we actually get together.
Well, that's the thing. Chef Mike came to Philly, and I was still a little bit paranoid about the whole.
Nope, we are not fucking hanging out with anybody.
And it's just anybody. I mean,
that's what I love about Mrs. Meanie too. You have Meanie's just like he's like, I'm just uncomfortable. It's kind of like it's nothing personal. It's just and she's just like, nah, we're not fucking hanging out with anyone.
Listen. My mom was trying to guilt me about Christmas, and I'm like, I don't know where the fuck you people have been.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're smart. Do you guys watch Saturday Night Live?
Not as much as
No.
There, there was a
No.
great sketch where they're basically like all together, and like all these friends together, they're like all wearing their masks and like, like, have you seen anyone? Like, I haven't seen anyone. I haven't been. They're like, let's take our masks off. We've earned it. Let's take our masks off. And then they're just like, yeah. They're like, like, yeah, I've just been basically just me and my wife at home. Obviously, like, my brother and sister-in-law comes over. Of course, his neighbor is there, and and their family, and it's like it just keeps building and building, and basically what they're all like showing is like everyone there, they're not following any rules. They're like, we've been so good. I haven't gone anywhere. Like, well, I mean, obviously I go to the grocery store and I go to the dry cleaners and and they're like, well, of course you got to eat. You have to do, and it just like keeps getting more and more and more. And that's the truth is like, it's really tough to,
Wait. Can I say something? So actually right before Christmas in New York, maybe, and maybe somewhere else as well. What happened here? So,
hold on. We're kicked off. This is the second time this has happened to us. Hour 35 minutes, 46 seconds.
Meanie. Hey, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, that was weird.
There's another weird internet thing that happened before. I want to make sure that we're still going. I'll mark the timestamp on this.
Yep, do your thing.
I said it out loud as soon as it happened.
So let's see. I just want to make sure because it started streaming again. It says we're live, but can anybody message us? Can you still hear us? Are we still on the same feed? Oh, I see you both. Okay.
Good. We're back.
Good. I didn't know if it was creating a new video.
Yeah.
Or if we're still on the same stream. Okay, we're both back on that. I'm hardwired too. I don't, I'm hard as can be, and I don't know what is going on here.
So let's take it. What was your final sentence?
So right before Christmas, New York City, and maybe somewhere in New York, and I feel like it happened somewhere else in the country, but it had to have been a thing that happened more than once in 2020, which was a swingers club got busted for having their little swingers probably Christmas party. No nudes at the buffet, but here they are. Can I tell you, when you go home for Christmas, Mima's not going to tell you she was getting into some dude and his wife down in New York City over the weekend. You know what I mean? Like nobody.
I mean, it's a bunch of hands going into the same bowl of keys.
Yes. And listen, like I know there's so many punchlines. There's so many like funny things, but like that's not funny. You're gonna go home for Christmas and like your family's not gonna tell you that they got busted at a fucking swingers club.
No.
I feel like I've been swearing a lot. I'm so sorry, but
it's early.
It's therapeutic.
But like really, like, and that was my big thing. Like, you don't know. They're not gonna tell you. They're not gonna. It's not a thing that you talk about with me, mom.
Yeah.
Oh. Hey,
me, mom, and Papa are getting it on with some other couple.
Mima, where were you at? I was with a bunch of assholes.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, knee deep in several.
That's why we stay home for Christmas.
What do you got there? A little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of buble, as we say in the Meanie household. I forgot. I can't even read. What is this flavor? You go first.
Black cherry.
I have citrus and green tea, naturally flavored plus other natural flavors. I'm sorry, naturally flavored plus other natural flavors. The fuck does that mean?
I don't know. I have
With
buble or bubbly, but blackberry bubbly. You want to get on this?
I actually think that was a Super Bowl commercial. It was like Michael Bublé was changing them all to Bublé, and that's why I say it.
Mrs. Meanie has her own
I have some pineapple buble.
Hold on, show it to the camera. You guys show it to the camera.
Very nice. From one, you feel like from one Canadian to another, I would have appreciated like Michael Bublé performing, being introduced by Chris Jericho. And now a little bit of the Bublé, and then he comes out there. That's what I want. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Go birds.
Where they're going, I don't know.
I fucking shotgun mine, you guys. You pussies.
Hey, so at this point in the show,
we're at that time.
But before we get to that, we've got a little bit of breaking news.
Really?
It's time. Well, Meanie, you know about this. You'll remember because you were the one who decided we should talk about it on this episode. So, all right.
I'm on when it comes to breaking news, I'm on a whole nother subject, but right now, but
God bless you.
With the whole Carson Wentz thing and stuff like that.
So, this is actually important news. It's exciting news.
Yes.
So this is episode 47. Wow. That was
me, you guys.
No.
For you guys who are not watching, that was me.
Wow. That was impressive.
Historic.
Man, who knew you could do it from both ends?
Yes, breaking news.
Breaking news. So this is episode 47, so we were just a couple episodes away from episode 50. And we had gone back and forth, and how are we going to celebrate episode 50? How are we going to make that special when just a few weeks later we're going to have our 1-year anniversary show? So, how do you do that? And we decided that was the time to make a pretty big move. And we are making a pretty big move. This is not going to affect our Patreon members at all. However, we are pleased to announce that for all of you who want to watch us and are not members of Patreon, you won't be able to watch us live. You won't be able to interact. That's a Patreon exclusive thing. But Mind of the Meanie podcast, the video version, is coming to Fight TV on March 8th. Every Monday at 6 p.m., you will be able to get the video version. So every Monday at 6 a.m., you get the audio version of our podcast. And every Monday at 6 p.m., you can get yourself all ready to go before Raw starts with a little bit of the Mind of the Meanie video version on Fight TV. So that is our big announcement.
Breaking news.
I should probably get a camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we're excited about Meanie. How cool is that? Are you excited?
Dude, it's very cool. I'm a big fan of like the Howard Stern show.
Big fan.
And back in the day, they would have the radio show, and then they would do the TV version for the E network.
I remember
and then
watching.
Eventually, yeah. So it's going to be kind of like that, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And also, nowadays I watch, Rich, listen to Rich Eisen, or you can watch Rich Eisen, do his TV, or Dan Patrick, him and his Danettes, do the radio show, but they also have a TV version. Yeah. So Fight TV approached us about adding more content because they like what we do with alternative commentary and our banter.
Yes,
so to speak,
our witty banter.
Yeah, if you're with us on Patreon, you get to see this live. You get to see all the bumps and the scrapes of us in the raw, but
yes. In the nude sometimes.
Yeah, or in our pajama pants. Little throwback there, but yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, man. It'll be a lot of fun to have another piece of Mind of the Meanie on Fight.
And if
it's a big deal.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. I'm excited because I've I have to get like a free dinner or something for having this many shows on Fight. But one of the things that we're really excited about and is the ability to kind of reach a larger audience in video form, because we do feel that so much of what we do, there is a video component to it. So we want to be, there are a lot of things that you see. But what I will say is, for anyone who's on Patreon going, oh, well, that was kind of the special Patreon thing. Well, with Patreon, you get from as soon as Meanie and I sign on until we sign off, you get all of that. Fight TV, you get the exact video version of the audio podcast. Still going to be very exciting. You're going to get a lot of it, but you will get the video edited version of it. So still, we encourage everyone to join Patreon, because there sometimes you can get a good 20 minutes of extra stuff on our Patreon.
Well, and with Patreon, you interact with us as we're recording.
You can be here live interacting with us, and you get it, early. Even if you're not here live, you can check it out. If we record, like for instance, let's say, this would not be airing on Fight until next Monday, but you're getting it now, and you would have it available to you all week. So Patreon people, don't worry. We're still taking care of you. We promise. But everybody else, get ready to see what our Patreon members have been seeing all along. It is a lot of fun over here on the video side of things. So we're really excited to be able to offer that to you on Fight, and just to be with a continued great relationship with Fight. And we'll be announcing that, I think, later in the week on social media. So, again, fun Patreon thing. You guys know now, but we'll be announcing it later in the week on social media through Fight. But we're very excited about it.
What I love about the Patreon thing is, like, if you're in the chat, you get to be a part of it, and you get to ask questions as we're doing it, and you get the shout out on air.
You get to watch when our video connection goes off, and we come back on.
And we scramble. And
listen, I do run-ins on every show, but they cut it out most of the time because they hate my guts.
Oh, stop.
They were like, not your best work, McMeanie.
Got to work on your chops, kid.
Vanessa says Patreon rules. See?
Vanessa, thank you very much. She sent me a Van Halen football helmet over Super Bowl weekend. That was very nice of her.
Really?
Yeah. Well, not like a photo of one. You know.
Okay, still very cool.
Yeah, still very cool.
You definitely built that up like something where I was like, "Where's my gift?" But but still very cool.
It was a photo of a football helmet that had the Van Halen logo on it, and it was very cool.
Nice.
The cool thing is, like, and like I said, here at Patreon, we have this community all over with the Pod Squad. We have this community with the Pod Squad where, they interact. And, I know Slichter's not an Eagles fan, but he's always hit me up with the latest news that he hears.
What?
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, was he the other end of the state?
No, Baltimore. He's a
Raven. Okay.
No, Ravens are cool.
They're spooky. That's spooky fun.
You're okay. Yeah.
But I like Baltimore because it was a good part of my career. So yeah, I got some love for Baltimore.
Got some love for Ravens.
Yeah.
No, but we're really excited. So March 8th is the date that
I'm
pulling from my memory, and I'm hoping that that's correct. Yes, March 8th will be episode 50, and we'll be kicking that off on Fight at 6 p.m., which is going to be a lot of fun. We're very excited about it. Some fun things you're going to have is graphics that go along with some of our audio things. There'll be graphics to go along with it, so that's going to be kind of fun.
I like some of the previews you sent.
Yeah, I sent you over a preview for the Ask Meanie graphic, and that I was quite proud of. And but no, there's a lot of really cool stuff we'll be able to do. It allows us to continue to grow the pod with on-screen sponsorships and things like that, which, anything we're able to do to continue to grow this community, we're going to do. And,
which is a necessity since like there's no conventions, there's no shows.
And we hope that,
like
that people who check us out on Fight will enjoy it and maybe want to join us over on Patreon for our watch-alongs and for our Zoom calls and for all those other things that we do. Those things are not going anywhere, Patreon members. So we're always so worried that we're going to like upset our Patreon members because we appreciate them so much.
That's a shoot.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned, I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
what about the Patreon? What about the Pod Squad?
Yeah. And we got, and that's stuff that, we talked about with Fight. Same way when we did the stuff with ad-free shows, we've always kind of led with, this is our core thing here. Is this podcast and taking care of our Patreon members who have supported us from the beginning of that. And, we appreciate everybody. So, for us, this is really exciting to just have another thing with the podcast, to be able to be on a network like Fight that has such great shows as So Says Shernoff and Alternative Commentary, to be able to join that family of broadcasting masterpieces. But on all kidding aside, Fight is the premier streaming network in professional wrestling. Soon to be the only streaming network in professional wrestling, I feel like, as the WWE network's just going to be Peacock. But no, we're really excited to be on there, and it also being a fight show, becoming a fight show, kind of spoiler, opens up some doors for live shows that might be connected to other shows airing on Fight. There are relationships we continue to build. So we are not slowing down. Episode 50 I love that episode 50 is the beginning of something for us. I think that is so exciting to just be like, this is day one on our 50th episode, Yeah. But yeah. And if you're wondering about things like, well, now you're going to be on Fight, so obviously there's going to be, less cursing and less farting and less stuff like that. I will remind you, as I tell people all the time, GCW is on Fight. We can say whatever the fuck we want. It's wonderful.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So, very, very, very excited about that.
That was my roadcaster. I pushed a button on my roadcaster. That was my sound effect.
Nice. So yeah,
I have to go make a sandwich. I've been sitting here for like an hour.
It's been great.
More.
It has been great. But that sandwich isn't going to make itself, Mrs. Meanie. So,
hey man.
Hey, I've got no dog in the fight here. You're not making me a sandwich.
Listen. We gave women the right to vote. Okay, pal? They need to be in the kitchen making me some pie.
Oh, my. What's that?
You just lost your four women listeners. No. I'm being generous.
Come on. We've only had two. And
thank you, dear.
I might be back. Who knows? I gotta go. You know what? I haven't slept, and I can feel like, when you feel like you're like on drugs. I feel like I'm on drugs right now. I mean, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know what that's like. I don't know what that's like. I've never done drugs. So anyway, I gotta go.
Bye, Mrs. Meanie.
I love you all. To all my fans.
Oh,
you,
man.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too, Meanie.
Ew. He's like so obsessed with me.
Hey, speaking of obsessed with,
hold on. She's gone. Hold on.
Oh no. What the fuck was that?
I've been holding that in for 45 minutes. Oh, man. I thought she'd never leave. smells like shit in here.
Oh man, this is
Does that blow fresh air up my nose from my mouth?
Oh, you want to ask Meanie anything?
Why? Ask me something. Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
It's time to ask me anything. Ask me something.
All right. Oh, Meanie. So
That was a shoot. That was a shoot shit.
wow. So here we go. First question comes from Patreon as a whole. Why are you abandoning us for fight? No, wait. All right, here we go. Johnny Rassel. If you could go back in time and see any match you wanted live, what would it be?
Oh man. Like growing up, I saw all the WrestleManias on closed circuit. Like before pay-per-view, you had to go out and watch WrestleMania on closed circuit. So, I felt like I saw it in person, but I would love to go see like WrestleMania 3 and Savage Steamboat.
Ooh.
I would love to see that in person. I was fortunate enough to see the following WrestleManias in person. I was at 4 and 5. But I wish I could be in that building and feel what it felt like to watch Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat with my own eyes.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. Seriously, that's one of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all time.
Would have loved to have just experienced the atmosphere there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because that's like, a precursor for what what a normal WrestleMania is now. Oh, yeah. It's just going to be in the stadium, blah, blah, blah. But as a fan, as a kid, watching that happen in real time, how are they going to fill a stadium?
It's crazy.
It's a big risk for a bit, but it's a big main with a big main event that thankfully paid off.
Mark and Dryden at Mark Matsuo. What do Josh and Meanie think about The Undertaker's comments about today's wrestling being a soft product?
I think a lot of people took that as being a slight towards the wrestlers. I don't think the wrestlers are soft. I'll say that. The wrestlers are definitely not soft. They do a lot of cool shit that, people, like I said, Lou Thez thought Harley Race was a spot monkey, and thought Harley Race did too much in the ring. Yeah. Undertaker's his opinion. He's entitled to it. He's earned it. I think the product itself could be better, like storyline wise and stuff like that. It could, saying soft could mean so many different things. But
if they had the work ethic of like a Dave Meltzer, I feel like maybe things could be
right. Of course. But look, I think WWE started going the way of being soft once they became a publicly traded company and start having to answer to shareholders,
Yeah.
And then, here we are all these years later, and it's just like, I think the product suffers a little bit,
Yeah.
There's,
I think, since I was also asked this, which I really appreciate. I love when people ask me as well, and I get to piggyback in these things. But I think his comments were intended, and this is just my opinion, but I think his comments were intended to just kind of give you like the back in my day, this is the atmosphere I came up in. This is because I think that was kind of the intention where he talks about all the people with the guns and knives in their bags, and they're all like, look, the business is better now, hands down. The business as a place for people to work, it is a better place than it was before. Yeah. I don't, by every objective measure, it's better. But I do think the product I don't know that I'd call the product soft. I think I'd call the product confused. I think the product is kind of weak at times. Yeah. Like it is. And that's, again, it's tough to tell what that is. Is it one man's idea of what things should be? Is it a lack of? I don't believe it's a lack of. I don't think it has anything to do with the talent. We've seen talent leave and go elsewhere, and we've seen talent in NXT come up to the main roster and just like what I'm afraid is going to happen to Damian Priest. It's like, to me, I look at it and say the WWE, which is who we're really talking about. That's who Taker's talking about. He doesn't know anything from anywhere else for the last 30 years. So, looking at the WWE, I just think behind the scenes, things are probably so much better as far as an atmosphere, as far as the way people behave, as far as the way they take care of themselves. But in front of the camera, while it's never looked more polished and beautiful in that regard as a production, I think so much of it has just become, again, I'm going to say confused. There's so much going on that I feel like you miss the little intricacies that are needed.
It's almost like there's almost too much content.
There is.
That you have to write for. And there's too many pay-per-views.
And then there's this fear for whatever reason. And this was Kurt Angle said this. I want to say Kurt Angle said this in his first episode of the Kurt Angle Show with a friend of the show, Conrad Thompson, which is a great show. Check that out. I'm sure they need our promotion. But he had mentioned something about SmackDown when the brand split first kind of happened, and SmackDown was viewed by fans as the better wrestling show. And the theory behind that was they spent all week, they basically spent Wednesday till the last minute on Monday. They spent that time working on Raw, and then Raw would end, and they'd spend less than 24 hours working on SmackDown. Yeah. And a lot of the time, you'd be left with we got some great wrestlers on here. Let them go out and do 45 minutes. Let them go do 3 segments. Let them go do this. Let's just let them wrestle. Let them wrestle. And there was not as much, maybe there was like 1 or 2 stories, But to me, that's something now when you've got 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, you've got all of this, to me, it needs to be a wrestling show. You get back to wrestling. That's what's kind of missing. And actual wrestling, not just, the old tope suicida, as Jim Ross likes to talk about. But
that everybody does, and it means nothing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's not that there's a problem with the move. It's the problem that everyone does it. And that's a big thing. And Meanie can attest to this far more than I can. That used to be not an unwritten rule. That was practically a written rule. That like you watched the monitor, you watched the matches, and if you went out there and you did someone else's move, or you did something that someone else had planned for later, I've been backstage. It still happens with some people. I remember a pre-show meeting at AEW, and one of the talent, I'm not even going to say who it was or whatever, because it's kind of, peek behind their curtain, but who kind of like pre-show meeting was just popped up and said, hey, we're going to be doing this in the main event. So if you guys can just kind of not involve, I don't remember what it was not involve chairs or not involve tables or try not to go to the outside or whatever it was. And that was one of the veterans in the locker room saying that. And that's not something that you hear very much. And I feel like there's a lack of communication, whether it's between the talent, between the agents, where you'll see 3 matches finish the same way.
Yeah.
And you just look at it and you go like, that's not good. And to me, that takes away from it. And every match is just the same. That's, you know.
Dude, I remember I did a show, like when I first broke into business, I always learned, be mindful what everybody else is doing on the show, because if everybody's doing the same thing on the show, they could leave after the second match because they've seen everything. But I did a show every Thursday in Indianapolis, Indiana, for Mike Samples, and Ricky Morton would be on that show, Tracy Smothers would be on that show, and there was a funny moment where Ricky Morton is wrestling Tracy Smothers, and Tracy Smothers goes, or Ricky Morton, no, I'm sorry, Tracy Smothers went to put a figure 4 on Ricky Morton and totally botched it, and they're kind of like in the ring laughing about it, but still covering it up. Like the train eye, you can pick it out, but they get to the back, and Tracy Smothers laugh. He's like, "Look, I've never done a figure 4 leg lock because most of the times I've been on a show with Ric Flair, you always knew not to do that move." Yep. So, just it's there's the sanctity of people having specialized moves,
So, I mean, here's the thing. So, like the meanie salt, right? What happens if you're working on a show with like Vader?
Yeah.
Do you look at that and you say, okay, Vader's up here. I'm here. I'm not doing the meanie salt tonight because Vader's going to do the Vader salt? Do you come to him and you say, are you doing the Vader, because he's been in the business longer? Would you have gone to him and said, hey, are you doing the Vader salt? And if not, do you mind me? If so, I won't do it. But if not, do you mind me doing the meanie salt? Like, would that have been?
I would have just figured out something else to do. I wouldn't even made it an issue. Mm-hmm. Just
you would have just known. There was no reason to even talk about it.
Yeah. There's just certain things you don't do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's how I was taught, and just that's how I still am, sort of.
And do you think that when Undertaker says things like soft, and I know he went into detail, which is kind of like, removes the doubt of some people going, well, maybe he didn't mean this. Well, he went into pretty deep detail on what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But do you think an aspect of it is that like everything's such a show now? It's not wrestling in the same way. It's not about like the boys in the same way. And of course the girls as well. But you know what I mean? Like that mentality of like, the boys take care of the boys. We police ourselves. We do all this stuff. Like, you do the spot that I was going to do. We'll come back and we'll go to wrestlers court or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like,
he also brought up he also brought up the point that the path to get to the WWE is kind of getting easier.
Well, that's a big thing.
Just
easier.
And guys today, all you gotta do is just pay to get trained.
And that's a question though. But is it easier? Would the people who are doing the indies, would they say it's easier? Because think about it. In some ways, you got to go back in the day. You got to work a territory and be there for a few months.
Right.
But instead now, the people working the indies, maybe they're not so much in a territory. They're going to a different place every single weekend. There's it's debatable is I guess what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, there was a point back in the day when there was a strict no indie wrestler rule,
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want anybody from the indies because, in the indies, there's a lot of, mistakes and people were broken in, and then there's certain ways, some, the uncoachable, mistakes,
Right.
And then for whatever reason, they opened up the floodgates and started bringing in all the independent talent.
But a lot of that, I think, had to do with the Performance Center. With the fact of like, hey, you've built a name. Because the indies got so big, now you have these name talents.
Right.
You've got like...
Well, WWE's all big about buzz.
Right. So you're signing, we're going to sign Kevin Steen, who's got this big name. Finn Balor, Prince Devitt, like all that stuff. Like you've got these people who have built names and they changed their names, but still, and some of them, they didn't change their names. But But for the most part, depending on who these people were, Kevin Owens and Finn Balor, they went to NXT. And what that meant was that they went to the Performance Center. Didn't just mean they went to NXT on TV. They went to the Performance Center, and they worked with, whether it was a Dusty Rhodes on promos and stuff, and they were working with people on in-ring psychology. And these are people who, indie fans would have just been like, oh my God, I can't believe, Kevin Owens is going to be there. He's the greatest, all that. But he got retaught. And people can have a lot of issues with the WWE style, but their style works. It makes more sense a lot of the time. I just feel like there's a lack of communication. I think part of the lack of communication, the confusion in today's product, is because things are so last minute, down to the wire. No one's talking to, they're not talking to each other. Again, just my opinion. I don't know. I'm not there. But you got to have that communication to know who's doing what move. And your moves also have to mean something. That's the problem too. When people don't have, everyone jokes about the 5 moves of doom, be it Bret Hart, be it John Cena, but can you name like wrestlers now? Like everyone should have their specific move set. And I feel like now a lot of the time they don't. They all have the same moves that they do. And it's, so. Last question here for Ask Meanie comes to us from Andy Slichter. Nia Jax, My Hole. Your thoughts?
I just watched it this morning, and
I sent it to you, right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
There should be. I'm waiting for the remixes.
There should be.
Where you can work it into a song.
So I had a friend who went by the name of Sassy Mike Malassie in the promotion that I ran. And Sassy Mike Malassie was a hybrid of Joel Gertner and the Blue Meanie. I'm not kidding. Like legitimately. And Mike Green, the real guy.
Yeah.
So I think it's, I actually sent a text to Mike when I started doing the show with you and Joel. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I feel like I'm sandwiched between, the ingredients that made Sassy Mike Malassie. But, the reason I bring him up, when we were doing some training at the Wild Samoan Training Center, doing some stuff before a show. I'm sorry. No, that was the time he fell through a wall. Okay, so this is a different one. This was up at Mark Mest's dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
The man took a suplex and proceeded to tell us that he ripped his asshole. He took the suplex. I don't know if he landed in a way that his ass landed before his feet or whatever happened, but he basically, that was the first My Hole moment I'd ever seen, but I'd never heard it in that way. I am not, and I'm going to talk about this on So Says Shernoff, because as soon as this came out, I had to say it, and I told this to DeMeanie already. I'm not a fan of Nia Jax. I don't think she's, I'll just say, I'm not a fan of her work. Nothing personal, just not a fan. Can't be a fan of everybody. I'm sure she's not a fan of my work. Sure, she's watched all of it. But that was one of the best things I've ever seen on television. I don't know, it popped me so bad. Like it was just really, it was funny. What were your thoughts on it, Meanie?
Oh, I popped. No pun intended. Well, dude, I was at the other My Whole moment when X-Pac ripped his ass. On the Bronco Buster. I watched it as it happened, but not knowing the severity of it. But yeah, there's I have a feeling there's gonna be merchandise. There's gonna be remixes.
Yeah, I don't know about merchandise. I don't know if they're gonna.
Oh please, My Whole 316.
Yeah, but that's not going to be, WWE's not putting that out.
No, but somebody will.
Someone will. Slichter. I want to put My Whole 316 on, they won't, Pro Wrestling Tees won't let us do it because it's too close of a spoof.
You never know. But there used to be
Maybe a Patreon
places back in the
exclusive.
day. If there was still like t-shirt shops like Barbershop Window or
Yes.
Top Rope Tuesdays. That shirt would be up right now.
Yes.
For purchase.
But man. So yeah, it was something. It was definitely something. It was you know what, it I doubt that it was something that somebody told her to say. And that to me is the beauty of what the art of professional wrestling is. Pro wrestling is not a scripted television in that regard of the full script and all that stuff. It shouldn't be. Right. Pro wrestling, what makes it so special is the ad-lib aspect of it. The improv aspect of pro wrestling. It's like watching a fight scene, but it's improv. And so little things like that, they take off. Mm-hmm. Sets the internet on fire. Guess what? Now we're all talking about it. If someone didn't want, I sent that link to friends who didn't watch Raw last night.
Yeah.
And guess what? They watched that. They have now watched and I don't know, there could be a lot of people who go, I wonder if they're going to follow up on it. I'll tune into Raw next week to see if they follow up on it. I don't know, maybe this specifically, but that's the thing. You need to have that, people are checking these things out and then they're looking at it and then maybe they look at it and they go, hey, who's that girl who pushed her through a table at the end? And that's Lana. Oh, that's interesting. I'd like to see more of her. You don't know, or it makes the rounds for someone who hasn't watched wrestling in forever. And they tune in and maybe it makes them laugh. Maybe it makes them look and go, whoa, look at these random screens all over the place. What the hell? This isn't the wrestling I remember. Dude, I'll check that out, see what's going on.
Absolutely.
Maybe I should see it. So you don't know. So something as simple as my hole, you never know what it can do. But, I mean, we know what Meanie's hole can do.
Dude, it reminds me like there'd be times, I'd be within earshot of a fan, and like if somebody threw a random punch at me, I would throw out a comment like, "Oh, owe you money? What that? Oh, and it might not make TV, or if it was just on the house show, it pop the people in the front row, but I mean, that was clearly an earshot of the camera. So if it was planned or not, it's talked about. And like I said, WWE is all about buzz.
Yep.
Get people talking, whether it's planned or unplanned,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been a fun episode of Mind of the Meanie. It seems weird. Like I'm almost bummed out because I feel like we don't get to do another episode this weekend. It's something I really look forward to, but this was a lot of fun to be able to do. And I thank you for squeezing this in my schedule. I'm busier than Bruce Pritchard over here, I just wish he had my work ethic. But no, I appreciate it, Meanie. I appreciate our Patreon members for tuning in. I can't believe so many of you woke up this morning to do this with us. But this was a blast. Meanie, any final thoughts?
Yeah, man. It's crazy doing a show this early in the week. But if you're listening to Monday, you wouldn't know the difference. But yeah, it was fun. Thank you to the Patreons, the Pod Squad, for joining us live here. Thank you to Mrs. Meanie for joining us for a good portion of this. It was fun. It was great to have her on. Just have a fun conversation about life, and that's what the show's about. It's about our lives and how we're managing right now. So thank you for listening to us talk about our lives. Thanks for being a part of our lives. And I'm excited, that we get to do this every week, and it's growing. So thank you for everybody who makes this possible.
And thank you to Vanessa for just commenting, how do you spell work ethic? MELTZER.
There you go.
That's fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Make sure to check us out on social media at Mind of the Meanie and follow us as individuals as well. He's at Blue Meanie BWO. I'm at So Says Shernoff. Join us over on Cameo.com. The Blue Meanie will send you a message if you go to Cameo.com/Blue Meanie.
Yes.
And
Blue Meanie BWO.
Blue Meanie BWO. And I am Cameo.com/So Says Shernoff. Also, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie for all of the great shirts that our boy Andy Slichter comes up with. And you can go to our individual shows, so show us a little bit of support. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie and ProWrestlingTees.com/So Says Shernoff. We will be back again for episode 48 next Monday, just like we will be here every Monday for another trip into the mind of the Meanie.
Blue World Order. The world of MLW radio never stops.